Vice Chair Olson,
Present.
Commissioner French Contreras, Commissioner York, it doesn't seem like we have enough for a quorum.
Madam Secretary, let's give a couple of minutes and see if one of them pops on, please.
Okay.
Mr. Duncan, can you check your email form? Shoot me that revised packet.
Mr. Chairman, can you repeat that?
I just emailed you asking for the revised meeting packet, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, I'll send it right to you.
Appreciate it. Madam Secretary, I'm wondering if you might be kind enough to shoot a call or an email to one or both of the commissioners. I believe they RSVP'd.
Okay, I will.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner French Contreras will be on shortly.
Thank you, Director.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, ma'am. Madam Secretary, if you wouldn't mind calling roll, please.
Yes, sure. Today is March 9th, 2023, the 709th Arizona Racing Commission regular meeting taking place via Meets, and I will do the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Present.
Vice Chair Olson,
Present.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Here.
Commissioner York.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is now 10:07 a.m. and the floor is yours, Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll call to order the 709th Arizona Racing Commission meeting of Thursday, March 9th, 2023. Jumping into action item B1, the clarification of enforcement to Arizona Downs OTBs and simulcasts if Arizona Downs did not run a live meet in 2023. As always, we can jump into an executive session if needed. The premise of this is we have, and the department has asked a few times for some documents relating to whether Arizona Downs plans to run a live meet in participation with some of the acquisition, I would call it, for the racetrack as a whole. So have a couple of people who are signed up to speak on that. And actually, before I hand that off, Director Casillas, any updates or do you want to add anything before we kick off, sir?
Mr. Chairman, I have sent a letter out to Arizona Downs on February 9th asking for their proposed race dates and revised updated financials so that we can verify they're financially viable to run the race meet. I followed up with an email a week or so later. I did receive a couple of voice messages from Tom Arthur. However, he did not specifically tell me that they were not going to run a race meet. He indicated that the track was in escrow and that they had no longer control of it. And that I'm assuming that they're probably not going to run a race meet and don't plan to. However, I would like to get that from them directly in written form that they are or they aren't. But that's the amount that I've received from them so far.
Tom Arthur, are you available to speak?
Yes, I am.
Love to hear it.
Director Casillas, Chairman Coolidge, and Commissioners Tom Arthur from Arizona Downs. Yes, we are under contract with the Strana Group, and with and we're optimistic that that's going to move forward, but we don't know yet. There is a possibility that the ownership could change in mid-meet, which would result in a termination of the permit. So we want to be careful we don't get partway down the road and have that happen. And our understanding of the statute is that we have until May 15th of this year to apprise the department of any potential changes in the in our status, and we're frankly delaying that as long as we can in order to provide as much detail as we can. So that's kind of where we are, and I have called Director Casillas, and the Stronach people are supposed to be in town next week. They would like to sit down with Director Casillas and any of the commissioners that would like to attend, understanding we don't want to violate open meeting rules, and kind of lay out where they are now. It's just it's as all escrows, they anything we do really has to be subject to their approval. And there's so much uncertainty now. Turf Paradise, as you know, is under contract also. They're under contract, as we understand it, to an industrial developer. We're under contract. there's just a point now where there's a lot of uncertainty about race dates and who's going to run when and who's going to run, if anybody's going to run. So we're just trying to get as much information as we can to sit down with everybody and make an announcement. We did do the responsible thing, I think. We did meet with the horsemen and basically said, guys, if you want us to announce a meet right now, we can't do it. So maybe the most responsible thing to do is alert your members that if they need to go somewhere else, because we cannot be definitive now, we understand that. And we also understand the concept that if we're not going to be paying purses, we shouldn't be collecting purses in an OTB. So, to our way of thinking, the horsemen have given us some deadlines. Our opinion, frankly, is that let's just let the horsemen and us work it out. If the horsemen decide they want to cut the signal, they'll cut the signal. If they decide they don't, then they won't. But we are in almost daily conversation with them about, but we really can't give anything particularly specific at this point, just because of the situation that we're in with this escrow. So that's really what I have to say. Be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner York.
This is Jerry. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Jerry Sims. I just want to.
Mr. Sims, we have a commissioner that's going to be speaking. I'll call on you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Author, two quick questions. Do you have a close date, and what is the length of the due diligence period?
We don't have a definitive closing date, and they have the right to extend for a number of months. But
Their due diligence.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. But it is very possible that were we to run our traditional meet, it would close in the middle of the meet, thus terminating our
Right.
permit.
But at some point, you wouldn't let this go on indefinitely. I mean, even though there's no formal close date or due diligence period, at some point you would say, okay, we got to know. I mean, do you have
Well, you're in the real estate business. We
Right.
do have a
So-
drop dead date. We do have a drop dead date, and that's they're tough, but we feel like we've got a good relationship with them, and we think it's we're optimistic.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a representative from Commissioner York? Did you raise your hand again?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to hit mute. My apologies. Not
No
raise my
problem.
hand.
Do we have a representative from Monarch?
I don't believe we do, Commissioner, because Scott Narudi, who's been the person we work with, is in New Orleans giving a talk to the National HBPA.
Understood.
I'd be happy to speak with you guys directly, though. And I think, in fact, he's probably even reached out to you folks before. I may be wrong, but he's eager to kind of say, hey, we're in earnest to make this happen. We're not just horsing around, no pun intended. But anyway.
Understood. Thank you. Mr. Sims?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Coolidge and Commissioners. As far as Turf Paradise, since it was brought up, I am under contract to sell Turf Paradise, and they are definitely going to run a meet. They plan to continue running the track for some years, and but there should be no misunderstanding about that.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. The concern that I have here, frankly, is not about the deal at the racetrack. It's more about the lives and the families that we're impacting on not having a race meet, or potentially not having a race meet, and, for lack of a better term, stringing along these horsemen and the people that are impacted by this. I think what we should really be focused on is that, and let me be very clear, that if we don't get line itemed out what that meet is going to look like, I will not be voting for any OTBs to be staying open. There is zero reason for an OTB to be open, not only because it's against statute, because in my mind, ethically, we shouldn't be doing any of that.
Chairman Coolidge, we can't necessarily even disagree with that. If we're not going to run a meet, we should not accumulate purse money. The
agree.
announcement that was put out by the HBPA was basically, if you think there's going to be a meet this summer, that's unlikely. So we're giving you a heads up so you guys can go somewhere else. That's different from saying we're never going to have a meet in 2023. And the horsemen have basically given us till May 8th to determine that, at which point they say they're cutting the signal. So while that hurts, I don't know that there's any reason that this commission should really get involved, because it's going to be handled by the horsemen. And I would think that whatever the horsemen decide, the commission would likely agree with. So, I think what you said, Chairman Coolidge, is probably exactly what the horsemen think.
Well, and as far as the commission becoming involved, if you remember, we passed a approval for your license only citing the financial backing and receiving those documents. And that reminds me, Mr. Director, did we ever receive the financial documents as far as that goes?
No, we have not received updated financials for 2023.
What is the due date on that?
I believe I indicated end of March or so.
Well, you would never give us race dates if our financials didn't meet your approval. And conversely, if they met with your approval, I think you'd probably give us race dates. So, I mean, that ultimately is your hammer.
Do you plan on submitting those financials by the end of March?
I honestly, I can't answer that. I need to sit down with because those financials may or may not include the involvement of Stronach.
Understood. Love to hear from the HBPA. Mr. Guessman, I think I saw your hand raised.
Yes, Chairman Coolidge, Commissioners, Leroy Guessman, the HBPA. I just want to say we have been in contact with Arizona Downs. We have a contract with them that runs through May 8th. They know, and I think you can tell from the simulcast requests that come in the last couple months, we are only approving their signal through May 8th. That's when our contract ends with them. And if we don't have a new contract that include race dates, then we will be forced to shut the signal off. Just like at Turf Paradise's contract with Mr. Sims till September 30th. That's kind of where we stand, and we're just kind of waiting to see. I know most of the horsemen.
I think they're cutting out, Mr. Guessman, if you hear me.
While we're waiting for Leroy, I just want to make sure you understand, we have made the offer to the horsemen to leave the OTBs open so they can continue to accumulate purses. They can spend those purses wherever they want. We would not be making any money on our side by leaving those open. And employees, and so does it make sense to shut those OTBs down? It makes sense for us not to profit from those, but I don't know if it makes much sense to shut the OTBs down and eliminate accumulating purses and jobs and just general goodwill for the horse racing industry. Again, we would not be making a nickel off it, but the purse accounts would be money would be going to the purses. We've made that offer. We would, if that's what they want to do, we would at our expense keep those open, and they could continue to accumulate purses. So we've made that offer for what that's.
Thank you, sir. Did we get Mr. Guessman back? Commissioner York, go
Chairman,
ahead.
Sorry, someone else was just speaking. Can I go ahead or
Oh.
should I wait?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Okay, I just wanted to make a comment that it seems to me like there's a key party missing to this discussion and we're only, getting part of the information and part of the conversation. So I don't know if it is feasible or could we have a separate meeting with them, an open meeting where they come to the table, Monarch and Stronach, and answer a lot of these questions? Because I think without answers, it's hard to make a sound decision.
Just, this is Tom Author again. Commissioner York, they would be willing and have been willing. I think I've reached out to various commissioners to sit down. I don't know what the open meeting law says, but if it means they can only meet with 2 at a time.
Well, why can't we just have call a special meeting? They
That would be
couldn't make this meeting, but let's just,
I
if
think that would
everyone
be-
else is in agreement, let's do a separate meeting and just on this topic and dive deep and,
I think that'd be fine with them.
okay.
Ms. George, I see your hand raised. You have something to add to this topic?
Yes, sir. Thank you, commissioners, for letting me speak. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I run the Arizona Horse Racing Bulletin Board on social media, and it was clearly stated that Arizona Downs race meet was canceled. The word canceled was actually posted on social media to all horsemen. I have over 2,000 followers that follow for up-to-date information. This was also posted by the Arizona HPPA that the meet was canceled. People have been making adjustments to their barns, their stock, housing arrangements, and all different types of planning because we were told that the meet was canceled. Mr. Arthur is also part of that board, and he never disputed the claims that the meet was canceled. So as far as the general horseman population believe, the meet is not going to be offered this summer.
Thank you for the input, ma'am. Appreciate that.
Tom Author again. I completely agree with what Cynthia
Mr.
just said.
Author, I'm going to hand it back over to Mr. Guessman, please.
Okay.
Sorry about that technology at its best. Anyway, I was just saying that both tracks have contracts, and when the contracts are up, their signals, unless they renegotiate a new contract, they will not have signals. So that's kind of where we stand as the HPPA. And if you have any other questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Chairman,
It's Tom Author. If I could respond to what Cynthia George said, she's correct. Whether cancel is the right word or not, we are not going to have our typical summer meet. It's too late. As I said, it's in escrow, but I think as the notice says, we have through 2023 to ask for race dates. Now the horsemen are telling us they want us to ask for them prior to May 8th. We'll try to do that. We have to talk to people, but Cynthia is absolutely correct. That's what there will not. I can't, unless a bluebird flies in the window with a check for $3 million. We will not be having a meet in May, June, and July of this summer. And we came out early with that notice, so the horsemen weren't stuck here assuming a meet was. They've got almost 5 months to go find an alternative. So that's. While we regret having to do that, we thought that was the appropriate thing to do.
Understood. Any other questions for my commissioners? Otherwise, I'm going to move that we enter executive session. Oh, Commissioner York, do you have something else to add before we do?
Yeah, it was just more of a comment that unless, I've already asked, there's no close date, no due diligence period that we know of, how long that will take. So unless this closes before May 8th, then Mr. Author is correct. There won't be a meet. But we don't really know that answer to that until we talk to Monarch, but I'm just thinking out loud here.
There's also the standing of whether they have a contract to even run at all. And then 5-110 would prevent them from operating any OTBs at that point.
Them meaning Arizona Downs, not
Yes, ma'am.
Stronach. Okay.
Miss George, I see you have your hand raised. Is that from previously? And I see we have 3 other, looks like public people who have signed. If there's something to add, please add it. Mr. Gore. Terry Ferguson.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I was on mute. You know me and my mute issues. Just as a member of the public, I wanted to bring up a couple of things. First, it does sound like from some of the comments made that the commission is getting in the middle of negotiations and should not be even in those discussions as now. The Arizona HBPA will at some point in time give you the information you need regarding this signal. Second of all, it could be argued that they have run a meet in 2023 per the fiscal year of the state, which we all know is, I think, ends in the end of June or July or something like that. But I would be cautious of getting yourselves involved in these discussions, this negotiation, and wait for them to negotiate it between themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Nolan.
Yes, as you go into executive session, and maybe you could ask counsel, moving forward with all this discussion about closures and so on, the powers of a commission to revoke a permit, to ask that they suspend a permit, that you talk about Monarch, who is unlicensed in our state, so you have no jurisdiction over this entity, which I've been asking why for years, but please ask for counsel to see what powers you have as far as revoking a permit and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry Ferguson. Okay.
Oh.
That's it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Commissioner, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, I would like you, when you go into executive session, if you could see what the contract is from HBPA to Arizona Downs, because I was told when this canceled post was put on Arizona Downs bulletin board, I was told by Leroy that their contract with the Horsemen was only till April 30th. And then as the days grew by, then a couple different people came by and said, oh, they need their signal through Derby Day. That would be, and all of a sudden now it's May 8th. So I think there's a little discrepancy there.
Okay. Mr.
I would like
Gassman,
that
do you want to just address that? Leroy?
Yeah, Chairman Coolidge, she is correct. The original contract was till April 30th. Our board at their last board meeting voted to extend it till May 8th.
Understood. All right, my motion's still in play. Do I have a second to go into executive session?
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Thank you. With a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by, I didn't catch that. I think it was York.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. With a total of 2. Oh, sorry. I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4. Thank you. That motion passes. It is now 10:30 a.m. and we move into executive session.
Madam Secretary, let's go ahead and see if we can call a roll.
Okay. I will do the roll call.
Or
Chair
do you
Coolidge?
do you see the other commissioners on?
I see
Commissioner York. That's
York.
it.
I see York. I see Olson. I do not see French Contreras.
I'm here.
Okay. Looks like we have everyone.
Fire away.
I will do the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Present.
Vice Chair Olson,
Present.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Here.
Commissioner York.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is now 11:20 a.m. The floor is yours, Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. So just to summarize the earlier conversation, and the thing that I'm struggling with the most is how do we as a commission ensure that we are protecting the legal guidelines of what are happening, the contractual obligations that what need to happen and be submitted to the commission, and frankly, protect as much as we can for the people that are involved in this industry and make sure that we're doing what's right by what the department is supposed to be doing. That's my whole focus on this, and honestly, my frustration moving forward. I understand where acquisitions come into play and why the lines are a little bit blurry, but we also need to make sure that we're setting proper precedent in these types of situations. Before I make any motions or any other questions, I'll open it up to my commissioners.
I would agree wholeheartedly.
As a question to Director Casillas, can you find for me, unless you already have it handy, what date the reports and the financials would be required as far as what we approved conditionally for Arizona Downs?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in my letter to Arizona Downs to Dave and Tom Arthur both, it was dated February 9th, and it required them to submit their live racing proposed dates and their updated financials by March 31st of this year.
And to date, have we received any of that information?
No, sir.
Understood. Any questions or motions by my commissioners? Otherwise, I'll make a motion to have the department issue a notice or a notice of intent to suspend Arizona Downs permit should we not receive updated financials and live race dates by, I believe it was March 31st, 2023.
I would second that motion.
Madam Secretary.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by French Contreras. I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move down to B2, the request for Turf Paradise to amend their live race date requests as submitted to the Arizona Department of Racing, May 2021, and amend on August 11th, 2022 for the 2022-2023 race meet by changing the following live race days to dark simulcast days, being April 2, April 16, April 23, April 30, and May 7 and May 8th. I'll open it up to the department for any feedback that they have on it before asking a few questions on my end. Mr. Duncan or Director Casillas? Anything to add?
No, but I'll answer, Mr. Chairman, I'll answer any questions you have.
I have a roster here. It looks like Commissioner French Contreras, go ahead.
Thank you. I see that some of the dates are right in the beginning of April, but pending the motion that was just passed, I have some concerns about addressing any additional simulcast and wonder if we can just set this aside, or do we actually need a motion to deny it this time?
We need to speak.
I agree with that, Dave. Do you want to go ahead and jump in there? Thank you. You want to let us know why we're changing these from live race dates, please?
Yes, Chairman, Commissioners, thank you. I apologize. I didn't realize my mic was hot. This decision came after several meetings with the Arizona Horsemen's Association, going through the purse account and other issues as far as horse population. It was decided that it would be in the best interest of racing that we would cancel some days in the upcoming future. The days that we all looked at and decided upon that would be the best were the Sundays, because on the other days we actually do better and will generate more purse money. So after several meetings with the HBPA and Turf Paradise, this was the decided resolution to those issues.
Understood. Appreciate the input there. Any other questions? Only thing I'll add to that for turf is please be mindful of total race dates spent, and we will be keeping an eye on them moving forward. That said, I'll move that we approve the Turf Paradise request to amend their live race dates for April and May of 2023.
Second.
I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by York. I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes.
Moving down to B3, the request for Santa Cruz County Fair and Rodeo Association to amend and approve its 2023 dates. Those adjusted dates would be April 29 and 30 and May 6 and 7. Any questions from my fellow commissioners? Otherwise, I'll move that we approve Santa Cruz County Fair and Rodeo Association request to amend its 2023 race dates.
Second.
Second. Go ahead.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Olson. I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4. Thank you. That motion passes.
Probably now to B4, the request for Cochise County Fair Association approval to run its fair meet on April 15th and 16th, 2023. And this is on top of the 3-year permit approval from 2022. Any questions from my commissioners on this?
No.
Otherwise, I'll move that we approve the request for Cochise County Fair Association to run its fair meet on the 15th and 16th of April, 2023.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4. Thank you. That motion passes.
Drop down to B5, TP Racing LLLP. That would be a request for the approval of the 2023 race dates, Saturday, March 11th, 2023, April 22nd, and May 6th. Any questions there from my commissioners?
Yes, I have a quick one. Not familiar with what a charity race date is.
Mr. Johnson, you want to fill us in on that, please?
Yes, absolutely. Chairman, commissioners. So what happens in the event of a charity race date is the percentage of money that would normally be subject to taxes would be redistributed to the Turf Paradise Foundation. And what we do with that money is it's used for benevolent causes in the racing industry. So for example, if a jockey was to get injured and fall on hard times and needed help making medical payments, stuff like that. One instance was several years ago when the original Yavapai Downs went out of business. The money from the Turf Paradise Foundation, $50,000, was sent up to Yavapai Downs to help feed the horsemen that got stranded up there and help them to make moving arrangements. So that's what the money goes to the charity, and the charity is redistributed to people in need in the industry.
Thank you.
Sir. Any other questions?
No.
Great. I'll move that we approve the request for the 2023 charity race dates for LP Racing LLLP. Actually, I'll add the dates for Saturday, March 11th, April 22nd, and May 6th.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4. Thank you. That motion passes.
We're going to drop down to B6, the awarding of annual adoption grants. I think this one is the Desert Oasis Rescue. Actually, Mr. Duncan, do you want to give any updates that you have on that side?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Desert Oasis was one of the only ones that applied for it. One thing about Desert Rescue, when they do get the grant funds, it does pay for the purchase of hay and supplements and grain and other items needed for the horse. After talking to them a little bit, one of the positive things is they do ensure that the adopted horses are going to good homes and not just to anybody. They also ensure that they're not being purchased for resale or auction as well. Miss Dewey and her team, they do a fantastic job down there with the program. And the department would recommend that you do approve the grant funding.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Mr. Weiss, you have something to add to that?
I just want to make mention that Miss Dewey is part of the Rito family. She is here and a smiling face every day at the track. She does have a policy that we are aware of, that any horse, any thoroughbred was sound or that is hurt, she is happy to adopt and help rehab. She takes care of them. Any unwanted thoroughbred, she is willing to adopt there. So I would absolutely be in favor of any help you can give her. Thank you.
It's great news. Appreciate that. Mr. Gessman?
Yes, Chairman Coolidge and Commissioners, Leroy Gessman. I just wanted to say that I was down at Rito last weekend and visited with Cass as well. She told me she has 33 thoroughbreds on her farm right now. She's rehabilitating. And I want to make the commission aware, the HPPA just recently also sent her a donation from our rescue fund. So I feel like she's doing a great job and it's going to a good place. Thank you.
Really appreciate that input. Commissioner French Contreras, did you have something to add to that?
No, it was answered. Thank you.
Understood. Any other questions? Kind of hard to find fault in that. So I'll go ahead and move that we approve awarding the annual adoption grant to Desert Oasis Rescue.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Oh, sorry about that. Yep. Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4. Thank you. That motion passes.
We'll drop down to simulcast agreements pursuant to ARS 5-112U for Arizona Downs. I'm going to move that we enter executive session quickly.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam-
With the motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras, I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes. It is now 11:36 a.m. and we move into executive session. Looks like all the commissioners are back in attendance. I will do the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Present.
Vice Chair Olson,
Present.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Ma'am, you're on mute.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is 11:52 a.m. The floor is yours, Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. Just as a reminder, we are on 7A simulcast agreements pursuant to ARS 5-112U for Arizona Downs. I just wanted to get our legal ducks in order as far as this goes. Any questions, comments, or motions from my commissioners? That said, I will move that we approve contingent on the requested items from B1, ensuring that Arizona Downs has a contract moving forward for all 4 items.
Did you say B1?
Bravo 1, yes, ma'am.
I think, is it A1?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Otherwise, do we have any other motions?
Sorry, just to restate, Chair, you're saying approve 7A contingent on B1.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. I'll second that.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner Olson. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
No.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 3 yeses and 1 no. Thank you. That motion passes with conditional approval.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move to 7B for Turf Paradise. Looks like everything's in order on my end. Any questions or motions from my commissioners? Otherwise, I'll move that we approve Turf Paradise's 1 through 4 simulcast agreements pursuant to ARS 5-112U.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4. Thank you. That motion passes.
Dropping down to, just make sure I don't miss anything here. Dropping down to 8A, simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to IHA section 3004A3. Looks like we only have one that is complete. So before I make a motion, questions or comments?
Yes, Chair. I have a question. Given our conditional approval on 7A, will we have to make them all conditional approvals on this round?
I believe so. I would do what I'm thinking is making a motion as far as the A1 and then 2 through 4 being kind of compounded there.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
That said, I'll move that we conditionally approve Arizona Downs' Sandy Ridge at Red Mile pursuant to action item B1.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by, I'm sorry, I didn't catch who that was.
Commissioner Olson.
Commissioner Olson. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras, Commissioner French Contreras,
No.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 3 yeses and 1 no. Thank you. That motion passes with conditional approval.
We'll move down to 8A 2 through 4, Arizona Downs with Fairmont, Horseshoe, and Evangeline Downs. I'll move that we conditionally approve those 3 import signals pursuant to IHA Section 3004A3 pending the conditionally approve that the department receive all pending documents in addition to the contingency on action item B1.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner Olson. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
This is 8A 1 through 4, correct?
No,
Arizona
ma'am.
Down.
This
I'm sorry?
is 8A 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, thank you. No.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
Thank you. I have a total of 3 and 1 no. Thank you. That motion passes with conditional approval.
We'll drop down to 8B Turf Paradise. Looks like 2 are complete. We're still pending documents on 3 and 4. That said, I'll move that we approve Turf Paradise's horse racing import signals pursuant to IHA Section 3004A3 for Maryland Jockey Club and Gulfstream Park.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir,
Keeneland is now complete. I got the documentation late yesterday. So items 1, 2, and 3 are complete for Turf Paradise.
thank you, sir. Madam Secretary, I'd like to amend my motion, please.
Okay.
I move that we approve Turf Paradise's Maryland Jockey Club, Gulfstream Park, and Keeneland.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York, Commissioner York,
Sorry, yes.
with a total of yes. Thank you. That motion passes.
Before I move on to the next one, Mr. Duncan, can you make sure that you send the completed documents over to the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I'll do that as soon as we're done with the meeting.
Thank you, sir. We're still on 8B. So this would be I would move that we approve Turf Paradise's Lone Star Park contingent on the pending documents to the department and leave it to the department once those have been accepted to move it forward so they don't see any delay there.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner York. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of yes, total of 4 yeses, sorry. Thank you. That motion passes.
Thank you, ma'am. Somebody just, sorry, I got the notification that a hand was raised. Move to action item C1, Dr. Gale.
Mr. Chairman, I've been in communication with her. She may be on in a few minutes, but she said if she was not, I could go over her numbers that she had sent us. And then if need be, when she does get on, she will update you with anything further.
Mr. Duncan, why don't you fire her numbers away, and then I'd love to get an update from the department as far as the track safety report.
Okay, for all Arizona tracks for the past 12 months, we're at 1.94. That's 15 fatalities out of 700 or 7,738 thoroughbred starts. The 2021 national rate is 1.39. Individual tracks, Arizona Downs, which is June through September, they're at 2.17. Reedo, for last 12 months is 3.91. And then Turf Paradise for 12 months is at 1.74. During the same 12 months, there were 14 quarter horse race fatalities. 5 were at Arizona Downs, 2 were at Reedo, 6 were at Turf Paradise, and 1 was at Sonoyta, out of a total of 1,891 starts. And that's all she had.
Perfect, thank you. You want to roll out or Mr. Carlos's track safety report?
Yep. So Turf Paradise, they did replace the backside rail. It was damaged during the resurfacing last month. They had temporarily fixed it with PVC piping, which was way too flimsy. They have now replaced it with steel piping, and it's all in conformity with the rest of the rail. Since they resurfaced, the track surface itself has been very consistent from top to bottom. More consistent all the way across the track. Talking to their track man, the equipment has been running very smooth lately. I did send some pictures to you guys of the harrows going around along with the cutter. At Reedo, and Mr. Weiss can further detail you on this, but they're still working with Stride Safe. Mr. Partita is working at Reedo this meet for the department, and he's been in constant contact with Mr. Vic Oliver. Track is in good shape, and again, all the equipment down there at Reedo has been good throughout the meet. And that's all I got.
Great. Commissioner York?
Yes, I'm sure most of you are aware of the press that's been happening as of late in the Pollock report, and I just wanted to know where we stand on that second vet, because some of the news that's been reported is that we're not doing the proper pre-race exams.
Commissioner York, the department recently interviewed a potential hire for a veterinarian. That went out to the Turf Paradise track this past Sunday, met with Dr. Gale. My understanding is the individual is interested in getting on board with us. We're trying to reach out to expedite this to get the individual hired. So far, I have not heard anything that there's been a change of mind on it, but we're working on it.
That's excellent news. Thank you. Can you keep us posted?
I'm sure he says yes behind his muted screen. Okay. Any other questions? Director Casillas, have we moved forward on the budget, or should we push that to next meeting?
We'll have to push that forward. Chairman, the CFO is going to be onboarded this month. So I'm hoping that by April meeting, we'll have some detailed budget information.
Great news. Look forward to it. Thank you. Mr. Guessman, you want to give us an update on the Horse Racing Integrity Act? I think I saw him.
Yes, Chairman Coolidge and Commissioners. A little bit has transpired. Case 1 was in the 5th District Court. The 5th District Court ruled that the HISA was unconstitutional, and HISA appealed that, and the judges there asked to have the case sent back to the first court for a rehearing. So we're waiting for a rehearing on that case. Case 2, you may have saw in the news, the 6th District Court ruled that HISA was constitutional. However, even though they said it was constitutional, they the items that were presented as being unconstitutional in that lawsuit were items that Senator McConnell fixed and stuck into the spending bill. So that, even though that was not necessarily in the favor of fighting HISA, there's a reason for that ruling. The 3rd court, they are still, they had the favorable ruling that HISA was unconstitutional. And that is still it was appealed by HISA, and that is still in the process of getting assigned to an appeal. The 4th case is the case that Texas is filed in their courts in Texas, and it is waiting for a hearing. There's also going to be a 5th case. I don't know all the details on it yet. I just know it's in the process of being filed. I don't know where it will be filed or who actually is filing it, but it's again stating that HISA is unconstitutional. The other issue with HISA is their new thing, HIWU, which is their medication program. They are trying to get that in place by March 27th. However, that their rules that they're trying to implement on March 27th is still has not been approved by the FTC. So we're 2 weeks away and nobody knows what's going to happen. HISA representatives were at Turf Paradise last Wednesday. Actually, they were here several days last week, but Wednesday's the day we sat down and met with them. They're pretty confident that they're going to get this thing approved by the FTC, but like I said, as of this morning, there's still no sign that the FTC is going to approve. I guess the big question that is the horsemen, the racetracks in Arizona have been in this constant struggle between HISA and the state of Arizona. The state of Arizona having one set of rules and HISA having another set. And no matter which rule we follow, we're in trouble with one or the other. Primarily, we've been following the state rules on everything and getting in trouble with HISA, as you've maybe noticed from the news articles in the Pollock Report and on Thoroughbred Daily News. The other big question we have is what's going to happen on March 27th if FTC approves their medication rules? Who is going to start doing the testing and how will the testing be done, and who will, on the test, who will be the labs that take care of the testing? That's a lot of stuff to resolve in 14 days. And we're sitting here as horsemen with no idea what's going to happen. So anyway, quite confusing times, and actually quite a mess, to be honest with you. Any questions?
Lots to keep up with.
Yeah.
Appreciate you keeping up to speed. If there's anything that we can do, you know how to get a hold of us, and appreciate what you're doing over there.
I just want to add to several of the attorneys from the different lawsuits were at the HPPA convention this week in New Orleans, and they addressed the horsemen. The one thing they all agree on is this will be ending up in the United States Supreme Court. And everyone is pretty much committed to taking it there if they will hear it. And with all the different district courts ruling in different ways, they're pretty sure it's going to end up in the United States Supreme Court, which will probably be 2-3 years of still not knowing what's going on. But anyway, just venting, I guess. Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir. Okay, we'll drop down to the permittee reports. American Greyhound Racing. Arizona Downs. County
This
Fairs.
is Tom Walker.
Oh,
We
go ahead,
don't have
Tom.
anything to say. It's Tom.
Thank you.
We don't have anything to say.
County Fairs. Rito Park.
All right, good morning, Commission. I'm Michael Sandula, University of Arizona racetrack student, racetrack industry program student. I'm a senior. I've been given this wonderful opportunity to work at Rito as part of a group of over 20 plus students this year. My duties primarily are entries, making the morning line, and I'm also one of the on-air handicappers between races. This season, I've also had the opportunity to do multiple radio interviews. As I mentioned, this is very exciting. This season's been great. As prior mentioned, we are testing out the new Stride Safe information. Another U of A student, Cameron Kutras, has been able to, she's been an integral part. She's been instrumental in recording data and just showing that it works as intended. And the next stop for Stride Safe after us, we have been told, is going to be Churchill Downs. From the Arizona Department of Gating, Mr. Estrada hosted his convention of investigators and did studies at our track. And from that, a writer from TDN provided a very nice article about us. Also, the national magazine Speed Horse wants to celebrate our 80th anniversary. We've been told that we will be getting more publicity in the next issue. Our racing surface has gotten plenty of praise. Our equine wellness program has been just as well praised in how we've gone about checking our horses through some owners and trainers, although sometimes they may not exactly be very happy about it. And it comes down to a safety issue. Just one thing to kind of touch back on, if HIWU does come into effect on March 27th, it's possible that Rito may not be able to export the closing weekends, but that's all the report.
Appreciate that. Great job. Jump down to Turf Paradise, please.
Chairman Coolidge, Commissioners, good morning. I will touch on 2 points. Your meeting has already gone quite long. The first point is the quarantine for the herpes virus was lifted on February 25th. For the record, I would like to publicly thank Dr. Walker of the Department of Agriculture, Dr. Gale, the state veterinarian, Dr. Butler, Turf Paradise's veterinarian, the horsemen who came together and cooperate, and specifically Leroy Guessman of the HBPA. There was one horse that contracted the virus, and we were able to do a lot of things to keep it to just that. That horse did survive the virus, but no other horse was infected. And therefore, after the quarantine period, it was lifted and we were able to get back to being normal. Last week, representatives of HISA were in to interface with the state people in the test barn. Right now, as I speak on track, and I spent the morning with them, are the 2 ranking experts on track surfaces. That is Mr. McPherson and Dennis Moore, the track superintendent of Santa Anita and Del Mar. And they're here to inspect the main track and see what we can do better, point out things, and to make sure the track keeps moving in a safe way. If there are questions, I would be happy to answer them. If not, that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Mr. Chairman.
drop down to the Industry Stakeholder Association updates, Arizona Counties Racing Association. Arizona Quarter Horse Racing Association. Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders Association. HBPA.
Yes, Chairman, Coolidge and Commissioners, Leroy Guessman again. I'll be brief. I just wanted to say I spent last weekend in Rito. And that track is in excellent condition, as was reported. The surface they have down there is really kind to horses, and Vic Oliver does a great job. Also, as Mr. Francia reported, we do have HISA here inspecting the racetrack today, hopefully getting some good direction on some maintenance issues, and but overall the track has been fairly well here too. And again, I vented my frustrations with HISA, but it's a nightmare working in these conditions. There's two sets of rules. That is all I got to report. Any questions?
Nothing from me. Appreciate it, sir. Jockeys Guild.
Good afternoon, Chairman Coolidge, members of the commission. Daryl here, Western Regional Manager for the Jockeys Guild. The jockeys do appreciate the outside reel being addressed at Turf Paradise. Finally, it is metal and it's made it much more safer, but there is still an ongoing safety concern with the inside rail. There are portions of the rail that still have not been addressed. And if a rider should ever go over the rail or slide on it, then they could be really hurt really bad or decapitated. It's that bad. So we really would appreciate that being addressed as soon as possible. If there's any questions, glad to take them. Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir. I'd like to direct the department to make sure that we include that on the track safety, that specific item on the track safety report for the next meeting, please.
Will do, sir.
Thank you. Jump down to the commissioner reports. If any of the commissioners have anything to update or add to a future action item or agenda. Commissioner York.
Yes, I wanted to know if in our next meeting we could please address the rules that are currently under review. I mean, I hope we're not going to be in this limbo situation for very much longer. I mean, I understand that there's court cases with HISA, but either some of their rules make sense in terms of rider safety and horse safety, or they don't. And if they make sense, I'd really like to understand what we as a industry here in this state are doing to move closer to that and align closer to what they have. So I'm hoping we could possibly add this to our agenda next meeting. Specifically, I'd like to understand, I know there's a lot of discussion and potential controversy around the voided claim rule. So any effort we can make to try to hone in on this confusion and make things more clear for the horsemen would be appreciated.
Director, can you, Commissioner York, and I sit down and talk through what that would look like as an agendized item moving?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Not to be placed on a future agenda, but I just wanted to take a minute and welcome the new director for the Arizona Department of Gaming, Jackie Johnson. I've been able to speak with her briefly and look forward to working with her moving forward. Not sure if she's on, but now that the transition has been made, excited to have leadership moving forward.
Chairman
And-
Coolidge, I am on.
Oh, Director, thank you for jumping on. Just
you.
again, appreciate your leadership. Looking forward to working with you and moving it forward for the state.
Same, thank you. I'm glad to be here today and getting up to speed on everything in the racing world. So thank you.
I'll second that. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Looks like I don't have anyone signed up for call to the public. So we will jump down to announcements. Next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Thursday, April 13th, 2023, likely via Google Meet and based on a quorum. That said, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras. I will call roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
Thank you. It is 12:22 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.